Welcome to the second part that we will examine expertise. Expertise is a really big, a really huge field in science, and it has subfields that deal with the phenomenon of expertise. So not just we take for granted that I study medicine and I become an expert medical doctor, but what does this mean becoming an expert by itself, both sociologically and biologically? Okay, so there are fields dealing with expertise as a phenomenon. So we have different subfields like science and technology studies, STS. This is an example of the work produced in this field. It's laboratory life, the construction of scientific facts from Bruno Latour and Steve Woolgar. So what Latour did was really exceptional. You know, anthropologists usually go to isolated tribes in Africa and study them. Latour said, okay, what if I went to a scientific laboratory and study them as if I were in Africa and examining an isolated tribe? So he did that. When he went to that specific lab, he didn't know that they would get a Nobel Prize for their research. So this made this book even more important. And what he found out is how what we call as hard science is not so hard after all, and how our scientific facts are constructed. Not, he didn't say that the intention was to deceive. It's just an inherent human problem that we take, for example, things for granted that we should not. And at some point in the future, we see those things in university textbooks, we take them for granted as scientific facts, and we don't realize, we never know that nobody even knows how scientists in the laboratories discovered them. Many of them were just implicitly accepted, and then out of, from a point on, everybody just thought that, okay, this is how things are. Science of exceptional achievement was mainly introduced by Carl Erickson back in 1993 when he presented his classic paper about Erickson et al. About deliberate and well-structured practice. It's a formal scientific discipline, and as every formal scientific discipline, it has a handbook. This is the second edition of Expertise and Expert Performance, with Erickson, of course, and others as the editors. And Collins thought that STS was getting a bit old, so he introduced studies in expertise and experience. And one of the books related to this field is Rethinking Expertise from Collins and Evans. I strongly advise you to go and read all these. You should have a basic understanding of the sociology of science. It's not hard facts after all. And this is the best book out there, written by top-notch scientists, that has to do with the biology of expertise. Let's see some themes in each of these three. In STS, in Science and Technology Studies, we explore the relationship between science and society, how society affects scientists, their research protocols and the results, and how, in effect, these results and expertise and experts and their political power affect society. How is scientific knowledge formally produced, or should I say constructed? Because that's human nature. We take things for granted that we should not. And the problems in scientific experiments, the way they are discussed in STS, have to do with that, how we don't really examine all parameters. We take too many things for granted. My problem with science, as I explain it in the many publications, papers and articles I have made, because this is my major epistemological concern, has to do with the bad logic in experiments. And all this has to do with hypocrisy in science. We would like science to be something stronger than it really is, and instead of actually trying to make it as strong as we want it to be, we just keep some lies, not trying to deceive anyone. I mean, physicists, for example, don't try to deceive someone. They're just not eager to go deep into their main conventions and realize that some things are not as obvious as they'd like them to be. Relevant themes in studies of expertise and experience have to do with types of experts. So we have contributory, which is the expert as we imagine them. They are so good at something that they contribute to the society with their knowledge or skills if they are motor experts. Interactional experts, I'll give you an example. For example, if I am a physicist and I'm doing research in physics, I have to use mathematics so much that in the end I am not a contributory expert in mathematics. I don't produce papers or articles in mathematics, but I become an interactional expert in mathematics. I know mathematics really, really well. And there are the experiential experts that don't know any formality but can be considered experts. For example, a shepherd on a mountain. That's, for example, it has to do with the contribution of various experts. This example, we want to build a road on a mountain. So, of course, we will ask scientists, but the locals or a local shepherd that lives there for many, many years and really knows the ins and outs of this ecosystem, can we really accept that he or she has no expertise about this ecosystem and their opinion should not be taken into consideration at all? I don't think so. He is considered to be under this approach an experiential expert, so he can contribute or she can contribute in a certain way. And demarcation issues and politics and science issues are really connected. Who is considered to be an expert? Why? Who decides that? And how are experts demarcated from each other? How is expertise put into boundaries? And this is one also of my areas of interest. I'm talking about expert generalists, contributory expert generalists, and if we demarcate scientific subfields too narrowly, then we will actually have people who know everything about nothing, so to speak. And in science of exceptional achievement, now it's not about sociology anymore, it's about biology. So we examine the biological substrates of expertise. For example, a tennis player, a pianist, and a mathematician. Do they have anything in common? Of course they do. They have memory systems that are in common, similar hours of practice and similar ways of practice that made them experts. They have similar psychological and behavioral characteristics, and they have similar ways to attain their expertise. A mathematician with a tennis player, for example. A very common theme in science of exceptional achievement is the talent versus deliberate practice debate. So what is it? Can everybody become a world-renowned, a world-class expert in everything, or you need this so-called talent? What my research has shown is that talent is a double value judgment, and we should be really careful, because in the most cases, talking about talent is actually trying to put a label in something we don't understand. And my effort in creating the Distal method is to make explicit all these parameters that lead to expert performance. So, the definition of expertise in science of exceptional achievement is that we have a repeatedly exceptional or superior and exceptionally repeatable demonstrative behavior. So, what does that mean? It means that I should be able to do something in a superior way, but also I should be able to repeat this at any given moment. So everybody can serve an ace, but can I serve aces consistently? But also, serving an ace makes me doesn't make me an expert. What do I mean? In order to be an expert, you need to be in a recognized activity. Serving by itself is not a recognized activity. Tennis is. We have federations, we have tournaments, we have the game of tennis, books, and so on and so forth. So, if I go and say I'm an expert server, that cannot be considered to be an expertise, because there is no field that we just serve and nothing else. Or dishwashing, I can exceptionally wash dishes, but there is no organization related to this activity. Okay, so of course the definition of expertise has hidden in it value judgments. So what is exceptional? Okay, for example, something that is a formal activity is to be a torturer. if there is a junta, or if there is a war, okay, nobody can deny that there are people who have as their basic duty to torture other peoples. I'm not discussing this in an ethical way, not at all. I'm just stating this as a fact. But you cannot go around and give cards writing that you are a torturer, because it's not considered to be an exceptional skill to torture people, even if you may be very good at it and very effective. Anyway, someone can evaluate such a skill. Okay, so there are value judgments when it comes to expertise. It's about behaviors or activities that we accept them to be a field of some sort, and we accept them ethically as well. So, in my own research about expertise, I have compiled some expert characteristics. So these are experts know more and differently than the typical population. They have different memory systems. This is what I mean differently. And know more, okay, we all know, for example, that someone who knows that an expert in medicine should know many things about medicine. Expertise science concern itself with the specialized behavior an expert is able to demonstrate. That means that I can say I'm the best tennis player in the world, but I will never play tennis, but I know that I am, and if I play tennis I will beat anyone. That doesn't count. I have to demonstrate it in order to be an expert. I cannot be the best mathematician in the world but never produce mathematics, just think about them. Experts with increased creativity perform generally better, and complementary broad influences are beneficial. Okay, so this is in line with the Distal Method guidelines and the Distal Method rationale. Don't be too narrow on what you're doing, expand. No single ability, intelligence is more important for an expert. This also means that we can't just count one parameter and predict expertise level. Experts are characterized by extensive memory skills relevant to their domain. That is relevant to the first characteristic. Experts have the capacity to take automated decisions that may seem counterintuitive to the non-expert, but nevertheless are appropriate. Experts are intuitive and resourceful. If you're not intuitive and make automated decisions, then it's paralysis by analysis and it's no good. You cannot perform. Experts have a growth mindset that is competitiveness oriented. So you won't meet many experts declaring that I'm not evolving anymore, I don't want to evolve anymore, I don't want to develop anything, I have everything I need, I am fulfilled, I just perform. Or okay, so experts became experts in the first hand because they had this growth mindset which never left them. Experts are indirectly defined through the criteria and needs society has, and this is why we should take into consideration the sociological part of expertise. A compilation of expert characteristics taken from other researchers that presented such lists. So I've made a literature review and I saw which characteristics are the most common ones. So these findings were presented in the Advances in Experimental Medicine Biology in an article it's in press right now. So expertise is specific. There is an expert concentration, the ability to highly and properly concentrate. That's a characteristic of experts. Experts are adaptive. They don't just repeat the behavior, but they are able to adapt this behavior to the needs. Experts have a unique memory system. Erickson mentioned about long-term memory, about a kind of long-term memory which is called long-term working memory, because usually working memory is not long-term, but he found, or he developed a model where experts have a long-term working memory. Experts keep learning, that is in line with the growth mindset discussed here. Experts are creative, and experts depend on conscious cognitive skills, and the key word here is conscious. So we have to be conscious, and what do we do to become more conscious? We do psychotherapy. And this is one of my own types of expertise in motor skills. It's me playing guitar. This is from my album that I have made with Yafka Records, and you can find maybe and listen to me playing, for example, some Bach in YouTube. If you just put tennis club guitar album, and as you can see it's tennis oriented and this is a pun because tennis club means that this album has 10 songs in it. So it's kind of a set, and the set is, another word for the set is club. Okay, so that's a pun, and ha ha ha. And go ahead and listen to it. Okay, so thank you very much and see you in the next presentation.